Welcome to the Zipper Lab, where we build sewing skills one zipper at a time. Let's get started. Today I wanted to go back to the very beginning of creating a zipper pouch, and we're going to talk about cutting out the fabric. Today we're going to start with the flamingo fabric, and next week we'll start sewing the zipper pouch together. With Christmas right around the corner, I'm choosing the flamingo Santa fabric. When making a zipper pouch out of quilting cotton, you do have the option of just making it with the fabric alone. But if you want a little bit of structure or a little bit of squishiness to your zipper pouch, you're going to need to choose something to back that fabric. I don't want any raw edges showing in my pouch, so I will be using a separate quilting cotton to line it. I have a white fabric with snowflakes on it. There are many fabrics that you can use for a zipper pouch. You can use the vinyl, leather, the denim from an old pair of jeans, flannel, fleece. There's so many things, but we're just going to talk about using regular quilting cotton. For the lining, I did choose a fusible fleece, but I brought out a few examples of other things you can use. A simple cotton batting. There's polyester batting, wool batting, a variety of battings, but I prefer the cotton. A fusible fleece has a fleece material on the outside, and on the reverse side, it has a glue material so you can fuse it to the fabric and make it really easy. I have two different types of interfacing, a lightweight, as you can see how thin and see-through that is, and this is a medium weight, is a little bit more structure to it. The lightweight is a little bit stretchier. With the techniques I'm going to be sharing with you, you can substitute out different items in place of what I'm showing. There are different things that you'll be doing based on what supportive material you're going to be using. When I use batting, I do like to cut my batting a little bit larger than my beginning size of my project. Batting can shrink in, especially with the cotton batting, so you want to make sure you have a little bit extra. With the fusibles, I tend to cut them the exact same size. I find that they don't shrink and move up too much, but you can always make a test piece first and see how it reacts. And of course, we're going to need a zipper for a zipper pouch. I am using a nylon zipper, and I like to make sure that my zipper is at least a little bit wider than the piece of fabric that I'm cutting out. This one happens to be a 7-inch zipper, and I'm going to be cutting my fabric 6 by 5. So it's 1 inch wider than the piece of fabric I'm working with. I use a nylon zipper. This one has a closed end. You can use the zipper tape. You can use a metal zipper. There's just different techniques with them. I find the nylon zipper to be the easiest because I can cut it with my scissors and I can sew through it easily. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our outer fabric, and I'm going to be cutting mine 6 by 5. I will also need to cut my lining fabric and my fusible fleece to the same size. As a quilter, I do have the quilting ruler and a rotary cutter and a cutting mat here that I'm going to be able to use for this. But if you're just starting out, you can just use a ruler and a pen. I don't have a regular school ruler. This is a quilting ruler, but you can just use a regular school ruler and a pen. When using the ruler and the pen, I do recommend cutting it out of a piece of cardboard first because it makes it easier then to trace around. Now for the cardboard, you can find cardboard almost anywhere. I do like to use a thinner cardboard though. This one happens to come from a layer cake of fabric, which is 10-inch squares, but you can use the cardboard from a box of cereal or a box of crackers or some type of a thin cardboard because it just makes it easier to cut through. The corrugated cardboard is a little bit thicker and it does make it a little harder. Now I'm lucky I do have a straight edge right here, but you want to start out with a straight edge. I'm going to take my ruler, and I know that I want to go 5 inches up. So with my pencil, I'll just make some marks 5 inches up from the bottom. Again, I have a nice straight edge and my piece is square here, so I do have a straight edge to work off of. If you don't have a straight edge, you can also cut that like that. But what I want to do is, since I have it marked at 5 inches now, I want to see where 6 inches would be. So I can start right at the edge, or I can just mark the side here at the 0 and then mark it here at the 6. I have my 5-inch mark up there, so I could just line it up, draw my straight line, I think most of us have done something like this at some point in our life. And now I have a piece that's 6 by 5 that I can cut out with my regular scissors. I do like to mark 6 inches wide by 5 inches high on here because you can use this again and again and again when working with your zipper pouches or other projects. Now, since I have my rotary cutter and my quilting ruler, I'm going to use this. One of the things you want to make sure of when you're working with your fabric is that you go ahead and press it really well first. As you can see, I have a yardage amount here. You can do this with fat quarters or with your scrap fabric. And when you're pressing your fabric and making it nice and flat, you don't have to iron all of it. You only need to iron a small section that you're going to be using. So I may have wrinkles over on this side of it, but since I'm only going to be cutting through here, I can see that my fabric is well pressed because I've already pressed it. I do have my fabric doubled so that I can cut both pieces out at the same time. If you're more comfortable, you can cut just one piece of fabric at a time just by opening it up. When using old clothes like a pair of jeans or a favorite flannel shirt that is no longer usable to wear as a flannel shirt and you want to use it for a recycled zipper pouch project, you may have more going on, but you want to just make sure you have one flat area that you can put your piece of cardboard on to trace around or to use your rotary cutter and ruler. If this were my cutout piece of cardboard, I do like to mark it with a pen. Now you can mark it on the front or you can go ahead and mark it on the back of your fabric. It's totally up to you. If you're using a pen, it's going to stay in the seam allowance. I would recommend not using a Sharpie marker because that could bleed into your fabric, but a pen will stay within the seam allowance. Just to be sure, you can always mark it on the back. Now, most of the time, you don't know if this is a straight cut on your fabric or if it's a little crooked. So what I like to do is if my measurements are 6 by 5, I like to add about 1/4 of an inch wiggle room so that I can trim it up nice and even afterwards. On the side here, this is the selvage. This is the part that's attached to the machine, and it's a different type of woven material than what the rest of your product is made out of. As you can see, it's on both sides. You can kind of see how it's woven differently here. Now, I don't want to use that in this project, so I want to start measuring it after the selvage. You can usually see that there's a whole bunch of little holes where it is pressed onto prongs or needles to hold the fabric in place as it's going through the machine. So I just want to make sure that I'm cutting beyond that. If a selvage gets into a project, it's not a crisis, but it does have a different stretch factor to it, and you really don't want to have this big white piece showing in your zipper pouch. So I want to make sure that it's 6 1/4 and 5 1/4 that I have this bottom fabric and my selvage are past that. Remember, I'm cutting through 2 layers at the same time, and I'm just going to use my rotary cutter to cut along these 2 sides. I'm going to go just a smidge past where the ruler ends and then straight along the top. And if I worked it right, it'll come out nicely. If there's any threads that are sticking to it still that didn't get cut through, you can just go ahead and cut it. I can remove my yardage. I do have directional fabric, so when cutting this out, I did need to make sure that everything was going in the same direction on both sides. A lot of times you don't have to worry about that because you might just have a red fabric. So I'm going to line it up at the 6 and the 5 on the side and on the bottom. So on the side it's 6 inches and on the bottom it's 5. And then I'm just going to cut this extra fabric off. And that gives me my 2 pieces of fabric, one for the front and one for the back. I want to cut the same size, 2 pieces of fabric for the lining. I've gone ahead and added my shop tag or label there. I have my zipper, it's 7 inches, so it's 1 inch wider than the fabrics that I cut for my pouch. I'll also need 2 pieces of supportive fabric, which is the fusible fleece for me today, to go on the 2 outer pieces of my fabric. Make sure everything is tucked out of the way so that you don't accidentally cut anything. Now, the cardboard piece that you use to cut out your outer fabric and your lining, you can use the same thing for your fusible fleece. I'm going to need 2 pieces, 6 by 5. And I'm going to cut these the same way because I don't have a straight edge here and I don't know if that edge there is straight. So I'm going to cut it at around 6¼ by 5¼ as long as I can see the fusible fleece past the numbers that I'm going to be cutting. I know I can square it up. I'm just turning it around. I have those 2 straight edges to work with now. Now, since I'm using the fusible fleece and this pouch is so small, I won't need to go ahead and quilt it. If you're using one of the interfacings that is fusible, you won't have to quilt it either, unless you choose to, of course. And for the cotton batting, remember, if we're doing cotton batting, we're cutting it a little bit larger, and to be able to have the cotton batting stay attached to the outer fabrics, you would need to do some quilting. Now, we're not going to be doing any quilting on this pouch, but we will discuss quilting zipper pouches in a future episode. For today, I just want to show you how to fuse the fusible fleece. Making sure you follow the directions that come with the fusible product that you're using, whether it be fusible fleece, interfacing, fusible batting, or some type of fusible foam, etc. On one side, you can feel the rough dots of glue, and then on the other is the soft fleece. So I'm going to put the glue side up, and I'm going to put my fabric down on top of it. From my experience, the fusible products do not like the iron to go directly onto it. So that's what we're going to avoid today. Now, with most products, you need to just press it down and leave it for so many seconds, making sure that the 2 products are fused together. Now, I'm only going for a short time on this side because I do plan on flipping it over and fusing from the back just to make sure that it's in place. So now I do have the fusible fleece with the fleece side facing up. I'm going to take a presser cloth, which is just any type of a thin cottony type fabric. This happens to be just a piece of muslin that I use over and over. And then now this way I could put my iron onto the back and make sure everything is adhered properly without worrying about it sticking to my iron, or sometimes it'll get a little melty and it'll crinkle together, but just adding that piece of fabric will help protect it. All of our prep work is done. I like to do the prep work ahead of time if I'm making more than 1 pouch. I like to take 1 day to prepare all of my fabrics and get everything ready. And then on day 2, I take it all to the sewing machine and sew it together. We're only working on 1 pouch, but we're going to finish it here for today and come on back next Friday, and I'll show you how to sew in the zipper and finish your zipper pouch. Bye.